Welcome to a brand new episode of Motorheads. It's the program where I get the chance to introduce you to some very significant people from the automobile industry who are, of course, driving the big growth story when it comes to the automobile space, primarily here in India and also in keeping with their individual global strategies. Joining us on the program today, we have Mr. Håkan Agnewall, who heads Volvo Bus Corporation's business worldwide. He is in India, and I'm going across to Bangalore now, where he joins me. And it's great to welcome you to the show. Thank you for joining us, Håkan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
And congratulations, because I know you have a big announcement today that you're going to share with us. It is a significant day for Volvo Bus in India.
Yes, it is. I mean, we are entering into a new era where we will be exporting buses produced in India, in Bangalore, to Europe.
It's a very different kind of a strategy than one might have imagined a few years ago. Not just for Volvo, but for any global player, really. And the first time that we are seeing the export of fully built up buses from India. So the significance of that to Volvo and to the rest of the industry, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's been part of our strategy. Within Volvo Buses, we have had an Asia leverage strategy for 5 years. We have invested in the plant in Bangalore with a long-term perspective. And now we feel that we are at the right moment with the right maturity to take this significant step.
What's the driving force behind it? Is it the fact that you feel that the Indian operation now has reached that kind of maturity, as you said, from the production point of view or from the technology point of view, or is it also a combination of, better costs and a better environment now to be able to support this?
Yeah, it's a combination, and I mean, we have Volvo production system firmly now implemented. We have a strong supply base, and we have the right setup in India to take this step. And then, of course, leveraging the advantage of an Indian footprint, not only in Europe, but also in the whole of Asia.
The part of it, Håkan, that interests me and also makes us very happy is the fact that you're not just looking at saying that, all right, we'll produce something which can go to the Indian market, can also be exported. You're really specifically looking at a product that's been developed, again, specifically for the European market. So that's quite a different strategy as far as manufacturers go, isn't it?
Well, other manufacturers has to answer for them. For us, it has been a very conscious strategy, and the product has been developed in India with Indian engineers, with European engineers. Today, I would say, in the commercial vehicle arena, the significant projects, they are global, leveraging resources all over the world to make a common product for a certain market.
Fair enough. And do you see any sort of a potential for, if not specifically this product, then this kind of strategy for other geographies as well besides Europe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are also already today exporting to South Asia and also to South Africa, so to say. So yes, it's definitely valid.
Let's talk a little bit about your position here in India. You do know, of course, that for many years the name Volvo has become the product generic. I mean, that's pretty much what people use. They don't say we're taking a bus anymore. When it's an intercity travel especially, people just say we're going to take a Volvo. That kind of position and the fact that you now have this huge equity in the Indian space, what kind of future growth does that set you up for?
Now, I think we are, of course, very happy and very grateful for the position that we have in the Indian market. It's also a position that we are trying to grow and try to expand as we go forward. And India has now for 14 years been a major hub for us. It's a major market for us, and it will be so going forward. And I think with the exports, we will take the quality for Indian projects also to the Indian products also to the next level.
If you could also give me a sense of the kind of capacity you currently operate with, now that you have this extra impetus on exports coming in with the deliveries for the European market beginning next year, do you see that capacity picture changing dramatically as we go forward for India?
No, I mean, we have currently capacity on one shift of about 1,500 vehicles a year. And I think with the current market situation in India, we are well equipped to cater for the growth, both in the domestic market and also for the export.
Speaking of the current market situation now, for some time there has been this sort of wait and watch when it comes to the Indian auto space, and it's perhaps true of the Indian economy in general. Where people keep saying that, look, there's got to be something that will finally change, and especially when you look at it from the from the economic or the macroeconomic activity front, there is an expectation. Now that expectation keeps getting pushed forward every few months. Are you waiting for some sort of a big change where suddenly you'll see a bigger demand in terms of volume?
No, I mean, we are carefully watching the market, and I mean, I think people are speculating when it will come back. I think with the measures that are taking, we see the macroeconomics starting to go in the right direction. So of course that will affect market. But when, that is of course the million-dollar question, so to say, and I don't have the answer to that.
No, I wish you did, because I know that's the question we keep asking everybody, and we ourselves try and answer it. But Håkan, let's also now talk a little bit about the global picture when it comes to Volvo Bus, because you have been seeing a lot of product innovation. I know that you have a fair number of hybrid buses that are already running, you know, are already in use. Where do you see that end of the portfolio going, and do you also see a demand for that picking up in the emerging markets?
Yeah, I mean, electromobility as a way forward for public transport, we believe strongly in that for the future. Today we have delivered 2,000 Volvo hybrids all over the world, and if you take the complete number of hybrids, including the Nova and the Sunwind platform, we have delivered over 5,000 hybrids. What we see on the technical side, we have two steps that we have just launched, or we are just launching. The first is the electric hybrid with bigger batteries and charging, and then with the full electric buses also with charging. Our view, it's the way forward, because basically energy efficiency, it's a very energy efficient solution to use electricity to drive buses or commercial vehicles in cities. It's about reduction of CO2, and it's a reduction of noise. So we are taking electromobility is our major way forward, I would say, on a short to medium perspective. Then different markets will come in different pace. I mean, I would say the leading markets today in Europe are markets like UK, Scandinavia and France. But it's also notable that South America is picking up. I would say Colombia and Bogota is one of our most important markets on the hybrid side. So it is picking up. Also in India, we are at a very early stage, but with the farmer facilities that are available, I think that it's coming, of course, at a very initial stage.
Well, in India, it's almost ironic, because we frankly could use these products right now. I mean, I'm sure keep reading about the kind of stories that come out of India about the pollution levels in our cities. So a city like Delhi or Bangalore or even Mumbai, we could certainly use electric or hybrid buses. The talk about electric and hybrid mobility, when it's in the context of cars in India especially, starts to get a little bit diluted or confused, because people say, hang on, we could never quickly catch up on the kind of infrastructure requirement that will be needed. But in the case of city buses especially, where it is a government infrastructure, it is, let's say, a more fixed infrastructure that's perhaps easier to adapt. Do you have a greater hope there that a conversation with government on this front could be more positive and quicker?
Yeah, I mean, the potential is certainly there, because if we start with a hybrid bus, it doesn't require an additional infrastructure. It's a bus, it's a normal city bus, but with a hybrid driveline, and by that it's fully realistic, proven by 2,000 Volvo hybrids, to achieve fuel savings of 30 to 40%. So there is no need for extra infrastructure to cater for that technology.
But do you feel that for the need for the products to be a little more competitive, that government should incentivize, or there should be certain policies that should, you know, almost sort of compel the city administrations to adopt these buses more quickly, because it makes more sense to them, even financially?
Yeah, I mean, I think the city administrators needs to evaluate what gives them most sustainable public transport for the money. I will not assess that. What I would say is that going forward, when we make financial evaluation of different transport modes, I would strongly encourage that the CO2 emissions and needs to be part of the financial model, so to say, evaluating the different technologies.
Well, we certainly hope that something happens on that front soon. One last point, Håkan, before I let you go. Now that you've had this big announcement out of India, for the Indian operation in particular, not just from a volume capacity or an investment point of view, but from a larger overall picture point of view, where do you see it going in the next 5 years? Because I remember the last time we'd asked Volvo this was about 5 years ago, and already we've seen a huge amount of growth. So next 5 years, what's the kind of target you're setting for the Indian operation?
Yeah, and now Volvo Group will make its announcement of their financial results at the end of Q2. So I cannot go into specific numbers right now, but I would say, I mean, India is a very important market for us, and I think we are seeing the macro parameters going in the right direction. So we are here for the long run.
Well, that's always heartening to know, and I really appreciate your time today. I'm going to let you go, but once again, congratulations on today's announcement, and we wish you all the very best. I'm going to catch up with your Indian counterpart in just a few minutes now. I think Akash is also going to speak to us. So it is time for a very short break here on Motorheads. We come back, like I said, with Akash. Stay tuned.